Hello and welcome to the Terry
and Edith show.
Okay, here we are again. And as I said, you always are a busy bee, and you have been to another retreat, and it looked, according to the pictures you've posted on social media, it looked like fun, and it wasn't just who am I kidding? Just about writing. It was more than writing this time, wasn't it?
Well, it could have just been about writing. This is the lovely thing I like about the retreat at Weymouth is you can go and do nothing but write, or there are many, many things happening. And this time I chose to participate in many, many things happening.
Okay.
And I look back on that. There's good and there's bad to that. I didn't get as much writing done as I would have normally gotten done in a 2-week writers only. On the other hand, I met some amazing people. I sold some books. I got out in front of communities that didn't know me. So there's a trade-off, and you always have to figure out, like, which are you willing to do? But I know I've got another retreat coming up for 3 weeks in July. And so knowing that, I thought I'm going to use this retreat for this multitude of things. And then the one that I'm doing in July, I will know no one where I am. And so there won't be that ability to go do all of these other things. So
does make sense. Is that the one in July where you're going to Greece, or?
Yes.
Oh.
Of course, the only problem with that one is that I'll probably want to be sightseeing instead of writing. But so we'll see. We'll just see what happens. We'll just see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Writing, sightseeing, and of course, eating.
Eating. Well, you can eat and write at the same time.
That's true.
I have no problem doing two things at once.
That's the best kind of multitasking, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
And you said you sold a few books. You participated in author readings as well?
Yeah. So I was invited to 2 different libraries while I was in the area. I also went to it's a retirement village. So people go there at a point where maybe they want to live in an apartment or a condo. And then eventually they have a full care facility so that you can, and it's huge. So they invited me there for their book club. So I went and did that. And then the place that I'm staying is called Weymouth, and they often have, like, come talk to the author or whatever events. And so they had me do that. So I did all 4 of those. And then they have this thing called Pop Up in the Pines where people come and do like a craft fair and wave a tent. And they said, "Hey, do you want to set up your books in our tent?" I said, "Absolutely." So I did that as well. So yeah, it turned into just kind of more than writing. But I also participated in a local writers group. They were working on poetry, and so I did that. The local bookstore had a meet the author event for a different author, and so I went and did that and participated in her, launch of her book. It was a lot of fun. It just really had a good time. So,
and given that it was fun, it was more than fun. What did you learn from your fellow authors?
Well, it's interesting. We do a lot of talking. I learned different things. There was one guy that I was talking with. His name is Jim Gullidge. He wrote a book about North Carolina, and he was telling me about how he got his book in the North Carolina Literary Review, which is a big deal. And I didn't know how one went about doing that. Okay. And I now have submitted Daughters of Green Mountain Gap. Potentially. Now, whether it gets picked up, whether it happens, but I didn't even know how to do that.
Okay.
And now I've done that. So yeah, it's when you talk with other authors, you learn places where they hang out, things that they do, places that they've found have been helpful to them. And I just take copious notes. It's like, oh, so this is what you do? Because because you just don't know. I learned of someone who has a rather local podcast. And so I got on their local podcast. All of those things that I wouldn't have done had I not left my office, right?
Yes. That's
Yeah.
where you have to wear the different hats these days. I mean, a room for one's own is all nice and well. It's a solitary task. We all know that, but in the end, you do have to get out there.
You do. You do. And I met writers in various stages of their journey, some who have been writing for years and years, others who are hoping to get their first book out eventually. And all the way through, I met people who write very differently than I do, several poets. I don't know how to write poetry. I am terrible at it. Um, I just, I don't know. I found it to be just a lot of fun. And this area, so it's in Southern Pines, North Carolina, and they are very artsy. This whole town just is
Okay.
very into arts and the people who do the crafts, and they're
Mhm.
just they have something going on all the time. There's poetry by the pond. There's jazz, Sunday evening jazz. They have something that they call Bach lunch, and you go and you take your own lunch, but they have different people who play music
Mhm.
during your lunch hour, and you can sit and listen. It's just
Mm.
there's something going on all the time.
Mm.
And I love living at the beach. I really love where I live, and I was tempted to move. Tempted. Tempted enough that I really began to wonder if I should move, but then I came home and took a walk on the beach and said, "Yeah, okay, I do
Yeah.
like it here." But
Yeah.
but if I could figure out how to transport my morning walks to that location or transport everything they're doing there here, I really like the
Mm.
feel of the place. It is very everyone walks and you're downtown and there's just it's I loved it. I loved it.
Sounds very European.
Yes, and maybe it is, and I don't know enough to know that, but it I don't know, everything, you walked downtown and there's just little restaurants and people eat out on sidewalk cafes and there's music that's popping up over here and there's outdoor movies in the evenings and there's just stuff. And
Mhm.
it was fabulous. So you're
Yeah.
telling me maybe I should move to Europe, is that what you're suggesting?
Maybe after you have spent 3 weeks in Greek, you might think about you
I
have
might,
the artsy part, you have the
yeah,
food, you have the beach.
yeah. You never know. Never know, guys. I might be, headed back to Greece, going back to my roots. I don't know if you knew that, but I was born there in Greece.
I think you've mentioned that in our
Yeah,
first podcast.
my dad was in the Air Force,
Mm.
and I don't remember it. I left when I was 2, but I loved as growing up, I loved telling everybody I was born in Athens, Greece. I mean, it made me so special because most of my friends weren't born other places, and I got to say, "I was born in Athens, Greece. I was born in Athens, Greece." So you never know. Maybe I'm headed back. Who knows?
Exactly, as you said, back to the roots, who knows?
Although I don't think that my grandchildren would approve.
Mm. Mm. They could move as well.
Well, they could. I don't know that their parents are planning to do all of that, but,
Or they could always visit.
or I could just have, a second home in Greece,
There you
right?
go.
Because I'm going to become super, super famous. You do know that, Edith, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. Rumor has it Hollywood is on the way
Yeah, yeah,
over.
okay. Well, hey, according to one of the scam emails that I got this week,
Mm.
Netflix is wanting to turn one of my books into a movie.
And they should.
Yeah, and I fell for that, right? I contacted them right away, and I paid that $5,000 just to get it.
Yeah, but maybe they should look out for new things to put into TV shows or movies because, recycling everything is a bit.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm all for it. But I also happen to know that when you get one of these emails that says, "Hey, guess what? Netflix found your book out of the millions of books out there, just happened upon it, and we want it as a movie, you kind of know that you're being scammed.
Very probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Even
you are,
even though they had the logo and everything.
yeah, they usually
But I
do.
feel confident that someone who actually works for Netflix is not writing me from a Gmail account.
Probably not, no.
Yeah,
Probably
with
not.
their name and then 3 numbers and 2 extra letters, and yeah,
Yeah, exactly,
I don't know.
probably
It's
not.
kind of a giveaway, but
Yes, yes, it's the same with all those scam emails. When you take a closer look at the email address, yeah, of course,
yes.
you know.
I mean, and so for anyone who's listening, if you're getting these scams, like I get so many, I bet I get 10 a day now. I just toss them. And if you ever wonder, if there's ever one that makes you stop and say, could this be? The first thing you do is you just look at the email address. And if it's a Gmail, throw it out immediately.
Mm,
Now, if it's
exactly.
something other than a Gmail, it's still likely a scam, but maybe you need to check a few other things. But the first thing you do is check for Gmail, because I'm kind of a nobody, like, and
No, that's not true.
but I mean, I'm not like a big name. And even I have Terry at terrymBrown.com. I mean, even I have that. So someone from Netflix is not going to reach out to you from their Gmail account.
No, they
You
have
could
all
feel
their
pretty
own,
confident.
yeah, at netflix.com probably,
Yeah,
or something like that, because,
something. Yes.
yeah, not very
Sometimes
much.
they're real good. We'll just call him, Joe Brown, and it will say joebrown.netflix@gmail.com. But it's still
Ah,
still
goodness.
Gmail.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
try.
we tried, you know.
Yeah, try again, maybe next time. Yeah. And what about the feedback you got from those book clubs and those author readings?
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of readings on Daughters of Green Mountain Gap
Hmm.
because it won a big award in North Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so because of that, libraries in North Carolina all of a
Mm,
sudden want me to be coming and talking. So that's what I've been talking about. And I do get really great feedback on that. And then
mm.
I just had my brand new book, Peg Unhinged, came out. Um, and I'm getting really good feedback on that one as well. In fact, the feedback I'm getting on that one I really like, because all of my other books are heavy. I mean, not heavy, but they've got, a lot of
Yeah.
substance and,
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
And Peg Unhinged, it's not that it doesn't have stuff to it, because it does, but it's also
Yes.
very funny,
True. Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know? And
Agree. I agree.
the number of people who've said, "Oh my gosh, I laughed until I cried." I laughed and I laughed. And I really enjoy making people laugh. And so knowing that I was able to figure out that whole humor thing for that. So I've gotten really good feedback, and it's fun. There's just
Mm,
nothing better than being in public with people and then having them say things that pump you up,
yeah.
you know?
I agree.
Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's good
Because you
for the
need
ego.
well, you're sitting at home alone writing.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And other people work in jobs where, their boss might say, "Hey, good job, Terry." Well, nobody ever says that until I get out in these public places. It feels really good. Sometimes
Mm,
you need to have someone tell you, "Good job. I
mm.
really enjoyed it." The big thing that I've had going on, though, the funniest thing is the number of people who ask me, "Did you try any of the herbal remedies that you put in your book?" And
Okay.
it's like, "Okay, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. Um, I'm These are
Mm.
from the 1890s, back in a time when they still used mercury in things to fix people. No, I did not try any of them, and you should not either.
Yes.
If you're interested in herbal medication, by all means, pick up up-to-date book on it by someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that's been one of the funniest things is I've had that question. I had that question so many times that I now usually start with, "I'm not a doctor. And this is not a book that you should go out and."
This is fiction. This is not
Yes.
non-fiction.
Yes. And I tell them all the time, I said, it's historical fiction.
Yes.
Fiction.
Yes, absolutely.
Like maybe we need to start with just a little definition as to what fiction is, right? But
it's made up stuff
and I do
sprinkled with a little bit
with
of
some
truth,
facts.
of course. Yes,
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah. And I try to make my facts correct.
Yes.
But once again, like I said, even if I got my facts correct, it would be facts from the 1890s. And medical facts from the 1890s are not the same medical facts that you want to be pursuing today in 2026.
Better not.
No.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I would highly, highly suggest something else.
Yes. Yeah. I absolutely agree because, not such a good idea. And may I ask, since I said before we started our conversation or the recording of our conversation, let's talk about the future of reading. What can you tell me about the average age of the audience you had?
Most of the people who come to library events are older. I think there's just something about a library event that does not typically bring the young crowd in.
Yeah.
Also, my books, I don't know that 20-year-olds are reading historical fiction. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm doing them a disservice. But I think that my readership tends to be 40 and up.
Do you think because of the protagonists in your books?
Could be. I mean, because I tend not to have, although like in my 3 generation stories, I do have younger ones.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of younger people start their reading careers in the fantasy genre. They like fantasies.
Yeah.
And I don't write fantasy. I don't come close to writing fantasy. And if you love fantasy, you might not be as happy with something that I've written. I think they kind of go through fantasy and then slowly wind their way, maybe like then I start noticing a lot more romance and rom-com. And then maybe they start with some thriller, and then they start opening up to more genres. And maybe I'm wrong about that, but I look at my own kids. I have 4 children, and I have 3 stepchildren who are older than my children. And all of my children started with fantasy. That's just where they started. Yeah. And some have moved beyond that, and some have yet to move beyond that, And I think maybe that might be part of it is my genre. They look at me, and they're thinking to themselves, okay, I'm going to go and listen to an author. Do I want to go listen to an author who's, 20-something or 30-something, or do I want to go listen to an author who's 60-something? And the answer is not 60-something. So I think that I'm kind of pulling in more of my own demographic.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
I don't know. What do you think? I mean, you work with kids. What do you think?
That's a tricky question.
Let me rephrase that. I don't want to get you in trouble. What do you think of reading and the younger generation in general?
What I think of reading is a day without a book is a wasted day, but that's just me, even if it's just half a page, even if it's just 1 page, I have to read.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the same with authors. Authors have to write. I'm the person who has to read.
Well, and I think authors should be reading as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Just real fast. I was at an event not too long ago where they asked an author, like, what is your favorite genre to read? Yeah. And their answer was, "Oh, I don't read." And I was like,
What?
I don't even understand that. Like, what did you just say?
Yeah.
You're an author who doesn't read? I can't comprehend that. So
no. I wasn't even aware that such a thing exists.
Well, apparently it does. I've seen it in person. It's crazy. But when you look at the kids that you teach and those that do they read at all
Some of
outside of what they're forced to read, you know?
some of them do, but they
Mhm.
are definitely a minority.
Okay.
Um,
What are they reading? Are they reading fantasy?
I think they do. I think they read fantasy. Some of them love to read romance stories.
Yeah. I was to say
Actually,
romance is another big one.
7th grade, 8th grade,
Yeah.
and there are students who do not read at all. Not just the boys, also the girls. They do not read.
Isn't that
And
crazy?
yes, it's crazy, and I don't get it because also what they say. One of my students, I think we were talking about horror stories, and he couldn't comprehend that the horror story is even more horrible when you read it than when you play it in a video game. And he
Well,
asked me for a recommendation, and it's been a while since I've read horror stories, but I do remember that one of the most horrible horror stories was by Stephen King, Pet Cemetery.
yeah.
And we looked it up together and said, "Yeah, well, if you read it in German, it's even longer than it is in English. It usually is when you take up the translation, but it's about 600 pages in
Mhm.
German." And I said, "Yeah, pick it up." And he once told me for a book with 400 pages, he was close of asking me, "Are you crazy?" Uh, I'm certainly not going to read that. I'm quite sure he didn't pick up Pet Cemetery either,
Right.
but he couldn't comprehend the idea that your own brain conjures up scarier images than any game designer ever could.
Right. Well, and that's why I prefer a book to a movie. And if I've read the book, very, very rarely do I
Yeah.
see the movie and am glad that I did so, because usually I see the movie and think, "That it wasn't nearly as good as what was in my head."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if I'm going in fact, there's a movie out right now, and I asked my daughter who read the book and saw the movie,
Mhm.
loved the book, said the movie was really good, and I said, "Okay, the likelihood is that I'm going to do one or the other.
Mm.
Which one do you recommend?" And she said, the book." And I
The
said, "Okay."
book.
So that's you know?
Yeah. 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 I absolutely agree. I do agree most of the time. There's only one film which I liked where I read the book beforehand, which was The Color
Mhm.
Purple.
Okay,
And I saw the film afterwards and I liked both, to be
okay.
honest.
It doesn't happen often, though.
Yeah, no, it's
I
true.
think I always feel like my imagination is better, and because I get the whole book, and so much of the time movies, they've had to pull so much out because otherwise the movie would be 6, 7, 8 hours long, and nobody will go watch a movie that is that long. And so, you know, you don't get everything that you get in the
Mm,
book. And I like
that's true.
everything. I like
Yeah,
to get the
that's
whole
true.
book, but
Yeah, that's true. And I'm a bit concerned since I asked you, let's talk about the future of reading. And I'm a bit worried about the future of reading. But according to other people, we shouldn't be because some say reading is making a comeback. I'm
I
not
saw
I'm
an
not that
saw an article
convinced.
I saw an article not too long ago that talked about reading was making a comeback, and that even paperback books are selling more now than they were even, 10 years ago, at a point where they were saying that paperbacks were gonna go out of style completely, and
Uh,
we wouldn't even be able to get them anymore,
yeah.
which I never believed, but,
Yeah.
that was the prediction, and now it seems to be kind of switching where more and more people are reading the paperbacks again. I don't
Mm,
know that the hardbacks are ever going to come back
mm.
into as much style, mostly because of the price.
Yes. Yes, that's true. Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
look and you say to yourself, "I could buy 1 hardback or I could buy 3 paperbacks."
Mm. Yeah.
As a reader, unless this book has great sentimental value to me,
Mm.
I'm going with the 3 paperbacks.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
Most definitely.
and And I
Yeah.
think that's another reason maybe why, like, the ebooks have taken off the way they have is because they are even less expensive than a paperback. And so if you're someone who reads a lot, you know, like my daughter right now, I think she plans to read like 75 books this year. Well, 75 books can get expensive.
Yes.
Right? And so you
Absolutely.
do look for the best way to get those, like the library and an ebook versus, hardbacks that you've purchased.
It's also a question of space, I think.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and what also concerns me is the need for instant gratification, because there's another anecdote I would like to tell you, because we were listening, there was this unit about books and reading. We did in our English lesson, and there was this listening comprehension, and two teenagers are talking about books. And they were talking about the plot, and the girl in the conversation told her friend about what's going on, and there is this secret she wants to get behind, and they left us hanging, of course, because, spoiler.
Right.
And nearly everyone in the class said, "Oh, now I want to know what the secret was, what was going on." And I was like, "Yeah, so me too." And the guy who said, "I could never read a 400-page book," said, "I want to know as well." So yeah, you read it. Why not read it? Ugh, I'm not
No, I
going
just
to
wanna
read it.
know the answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He just wants to know the answer, and he spoiled it for one of the other girls. And I said, "Don't you dare tell me the secret! Don't you dare!" I
Right.
want to read it for myself. He spoiled it for her, though, but, and I'm a bit concerned about that instant gratification. They read, summaries and think they know everything. Yeah, you don't know everything about it.
No, what you now know is the bare bones minimum, and you really don't. And you've not gotten to know the character. You didn't get in their
Exactly.
minds. You didn't.
Exactly.
Yes, you know the general gist of the story, but
Yeah.
that's not the same thing as reading.
Yeah, you don't know about the motives, the reasons, the why behind everything.
And not only that, but to me, like, you don't know how to now you can't even go and tell a good story. If you're not
Exactly.
reading stories, how do you communicate stories to your friends? Like,
Exactly.
I wonder if storytelling is what that's like in the younger generation versus the older generation. Like, my dad was a master storyteller. He would use voices, and he had faces, and you're hanging on it, waiting for the punchline's
Yeah.
coming. He was always funny, so you knew it was gonna be, this funny thing,
Yeah.
but you couldn't,
Yeah.
you just and you're going along for the ride. My brother is the same way. He is an amazing storyteller, and you wonder, will the younger generation have any of those? Because I think one of the ways you become a storyteller is by listening to or reading stories.
Stories. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
people have asked me about writing and like what classes I've taken, et cetera, and they're often surprised because it's like, I've not taken any real classes. I've taken a few classes on things like marketing, but not really on writing,
Hmm.
and I don't have a degree in it. I
Don't need to.
And they say, "Well, where did you learn it?" And it's like, I have been reading books. I don't remember ever not reading books.
Hmm.
I
Yes.
think I have absorbed how a story goes.
Yeah.
I just know it. You can feel it in your gut that now is the time that something big should be happening. You know it's coming.
Exactly. And it also might help you think, because this guy who wouldn't read a book, and he can't even stand being in a theater. He doesn't get the point of watching a play, because we were watching this play at school because they came from the Vienna's English Theater. They do
Mhm.
those school tours. And he didn't like it because he wasn't able to let himself go and be in the play, be
Right.
part of the experience. And I often wonder, he wants to do something with computers and, computer design, whatnot. And I often wonder if he does himself a disservice, because even, or especially people like those, need to be able to think outside the box,
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to rely also on their imagination to come up with new ideas. And how can you do that if you
If you're
if you
not
don't
surrounding
read?
yourself with new
Yes,
things. Right.
yes.
Right. No, I agree. I think that reading introduces you to people that you
Mhm.
wouldn't meet, to ideas that you wouldn't have thought of, to
Yeah.
places that you can't travel to. It makes you think about things you think you know and you think you believe. I read a book the other day that still has me like going round and round in my head because and I'm not, it's political, so I'm not going to get into it, but I have a belief about something.
Mhm.
And this book turned that on its head.
Mm.
And now I'm sitting here going, okay, so I still feel like that's my belief, but now I have all kinds of questions around it. Well, isn't that fabulous?
Yes. Yes,
Because
absolutely.
because either I will walk away with a stronger belief because I've sat and I've thought about it and I now know where I stand and why, or I will come away with a different belief because I sat
Mhm.
and I thought about it and said,
Yeah.
there's some changes here that I'm not as comfortable with
Yeah.
my where I stood before, and now I need to stand here instead.
Yeah.
I just think that books can do that for us.
I I absolutely agree, and they do not even have to be nonfiction. They can
No.
also be fiction.
Oh, no. That was a fiction book that I was reading, and it
Yeah.
just made me think.
Yeah.
It just made
Yeah.
me look at the world and say, "Huh, it's not quite as cut and dried as I would have thought it was."
Yeah.
In my world, I like things to fit neatly into a box of yes or no, good or bad, like, and sometimes there are these things, and in fact, often there are these things that sit right in that gray area,
Mm.
and and then you have to say, "Now, what do I think about that?" And reading will bring those into, writers love to grab those gray areas. That's where
Yeah.
that's where the fun stories are.
Yes.
If it's
Yeah.
all good and it's all bad, that's not a
Mm.
fun story. But if it's
Yeah.
gray, you know, if you've got a
Yes.
character who's mostly good, but they have these few really
Yeah.
horrible faults,
Yes, that's good. If it's just if he or she's just good, it's a bit okay.
yeah, it's like because none of us are that way either.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
It's really hard to love a character who is perfect when
Yeah,
you're not.
yeah, exactly. Humans are more gray than just black or
Yeah,
white.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, there's so much poorer for that. And I often wonder, I mean, I often come back to the idea of when I hear them talk like that, don't read and blah, 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 it's so boring and whatnot. And I can't let myself, I can't let myself immerse myself into the story. And I often wonder what would they have done back then during the Second World War with people who hadn't done that, but they needed them for Bletchley Park, for example. It's interesting because there weren't only mathematicians and
right. Is
physicists
it?
and
Yeah,
yeah, it wasn't about physics and just physics. It was about language. It was about history. It was about
yeah.
culture. And otherwise you can't do that. You can't understand. And it's also something what I think we've spoken about that this expert who worked for various American governments, Fiona Hill, and she said it's all about the language because
Yeah,
Google Translate and Wikipedia can only get you so far to understand. Uh, Someone else from a different culture, be it Russia, be it Japan, and so on, you need to speak the language.
right.
Otherwise, because language transports a lot of culture and
It does. It does. And one of the best ways to understand language is to read,
Mhm,
I mean,
exactly.
I'm I just think that books can transport you to places. They
Yes.
can, um I don't know, they just introduce you to things
Yeah.
that you might not otherwise have been introduced to. One of the best things a person can say to me is I learned something in your book I didn't know about XYZ. I didn't know. I didn't realize that. And even if it's just something simple and it's just a fact, you know, for instance, in North Carolina, in the mountains, we have a tribe of Cherokee that did not go across the United States during the Trail of Tears. They were allowed to remain in North Carolina. Very few people outside of this area know about them. It's just not everybody knows about the Trail of Tears and the horrible, but very few people know of this segment that didn't go. And there are even people in North Carolina who are unaware of it. You know, and so when you get someone that says, I didn't realize, and it's like, good. So you learned something. I think you can learn facts, but then you can also learn things like emotions. You can start to try to comprehend mother-daughter relationships from various and sundry different mother-daughter relationships that you see in these books, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then even things like in a mystery or in a thriller, can you spot the clues? You know, it's like a puzzle. Can you figure it out in the end? And that's also really cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like to find out in the end, I'm always wrong. I've yet to get it figured out. But to go back and then to go back and say, okay, now that I know, oh, there was the Easter eggs that I missed along the way. Like, it's not that I didn't read them or see them, but I didn't categorize them in the right way. I didn't.
Yeah.
But to me, I mean, isn't that a wonderful way of like using our brains?
Yes.
Trying to just capture like, who could it be?
Yeah.
Who could it be? It can't be this person because, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But do you think that it is also why young people, especially those I teach, can't do that anymore because social media, their mobile phones and whatnot has ruined it for them? Because they concentrate for a longer period of time?
Not only that, they can instantaneously get any answer that they want.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about things anymore.
Yeah.
You know, if someone asks a question, you don't have to say, well, I wonder. You can just know the answer. And that's really cool. I mean, it is really cool that we've got all of this information at our fingertips. But you should also try to think about it. So like, if once you get the answer, then the next question could be, what do I do with that? Like, how does that change my life? You know, that you can't find that in Google.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah.
But I don't think people are doing that as much. I think it's more about just an instantaneous, and even the way people speak to one another has gotten to be very clipped and short because we text. And there's text speech now, you know, where I mean, people say out loud to you, LOL. And it's like, don't say LOL, just laugh. Like, you know, instead of you just laughing right then, you should have looked at me and said, LOL, Terry. Like, you know, I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
And I also think they are used because of that. They are used to easier language, even if it's their first language. I often see that in German. I mean, I'm not talking about English here because it's the second language. Yeah,
right.
I'm talking about German. It's the first language, and I often wonder, seriously, you didn't just get what I just said because that's
you
your
don't
first
have the
language.
Vocabulary.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Because
and
the vocabulary.
Why not? Because you do not read.
Well, you don't read. And your peers are using language that's easy to spell out on your texts.
Yeah.
And as an adult, maybe you're trying to use more language with them, but they're not understanding you. And so now you're having to like dumb that down to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And they're not reading. Now this is interesting. I have my daughter homeschools. And so I have 3 grandchildren. Only one is actually school age, but they're all doing, and she reads to them all the time. These kids are read to all the time. They love books. They do a lot of audiobooks as well. There are just a lot of books in their life.
Mm.
And my not yet 3-year-old grandson, so he will be 3 in July, lined up his cars and yelled, "Mommy, Mommy, come see what I've done." So she walks in and he says, "I've made a convoy of trucks." Well, that's a pretty big word for a 2-year-old. And where did he get it? He has a book that talks about trucks and different equipment and things with wheels. And they talk about what it's called when you put them all together in these different groups.
Mm-hmm.
And he understands what a convoy is. And it's because of a book. And I know that this is a picture book, and that's not really what we're talking about, but it is.
Yeah.
Because when you involve yourself with books, you learn things, you grow your vocabulary.
Yes.
You understand concepts that are well beyond your years, you know? And yeah.
Yeah, because it's devastating, fascinating. I don't know what it is, because when you listen to them, even in their first language, and when they have to do those irregular verbs, which we also have in German, of course, since we have it in English, we also have them in German, and to have to get them right. And I was listening just by chance, and one of my colleagues was asking one of the students different kinds of, and he has to, sort of just like with what you do in English, go, went, gone, he had to do it with German. And it wasn't a difficult word. And I was walking past them and, okay, that's your first language. That's not your second language. We're not talking about English. We're talking about German. That's your mother tongue, your first language.
And you can't do this.
You can't do this, and he has to ask you, and you have to learn them by heart, which I think we didn't have to do that, because
you just knew it because you read it and you heard it and you used it.
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
and
completely
some
different with
of
English.
that,
of course it is, but we're talking about.
Well, and some of that is the social media, because people aren't even speaking to one another as often.
Yes.
I don't know if you've been to a restaurant lately and watched two people sitting at a restaurant with their phones and they're not even talking to one another. And it's like, why are you even out together?
Yes, exactly.
Like, you could be there alone.
Absolutely. We had this when a few years ago in London, when at the hotel where we stayed, there were four boys who met for lunch. They sat around the table and everyone was staring at the phone. They were not talking. Why are you even there?
Right. It's an expensive meal to go sit out and not even have company.
Yeah.
Like, go through a drive-through somewhere and go home. What are you doing? Like, I don't. And so if you're not speaking to your peers, and you're not speaking to adults, and you're not reading books, where are you getting your language development? Where are you getting your ideas? Where are you getting imaginative things happening? You're not getting any of that. And so, I think, I don't think that social media or the computer is all bad. There are so many good things that can come from it. It's when it becomes overused.
Yeah.
When it becomes relied upon to the point that we don't know what to do unless we have our phone.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think it also hinders the development or arrests the development of your brain, because I'm not talking about language just language. I'm also talking about other concepts, mathematical concepts.
Yeah.
You need the brain development to understand, abstract concepts.
Right.
You need the language to describe them. And how do you do that if you don't have the words?
Right. No, I agree. I think that reading is something. In fact, one of the things I told my daughter as she's, preparing to homeschool, I homeschooled my kids. And while she was preparing to homeschool, I said, there are two things that are the most important: reading and the basic math concepts, the general building blocks of math. Higher math, they can learn it if they know the building blocks. So even if you were to never teach it to them, they will be able to get a book and pick that up on their own as long as they understand those basic things in math. And reading is so important because if you can read, you can learn anything.
Exactly. And especially if they have to do, I don't know, exercises which require
Yeah,
language.
exactly. And most do. I mean, very rarely very rarely is math just math.
Yeah.
There's directions that you have to
Yeah.
read.
Yeah.
There's word problems that you have to understand. Very rarely do you do anything that doesn't have language involved
Exactly.
in it as well.
Yes.
And yeah, so to me, those are the two most important things. And I would say in a school system, we could get rid of quite a few things and focus on reading. Like I know in the United States, the reading levels have come down tremendously to the point that it kind of makes me a little sick to my stomach. It's one of the reasons my daughter wanted to homeschool was she said, I want my children to be readers, and I'm afraid they're not going to be because look at what's happening in the world with reading. And so,
Mhm.
I think that you almost need to go back to the idea of reading, writing, and arithmetic, like pull it all the way back because if you can't read, then you're not going to understand history. And
Yeah.
if you can't read, you're not going to be able to understand science. And if
Yes.
you can't read, math is also going to be very difficult for you. And, so to me, reading is like that basis. And how do you get a kid to like to read? Well, I think the way to get a kid to like to read is you start when they are infants and you read to them. And you
Exactly.
surround them with books and you go to
Yeah.
the library and you always bring in new books. And when a kid says, I'm bored, you say, go find me a book. And we sit down and we read it. And not in all cases, but in most cases, those kids will become readers.
Mm, I agree. Yes, and don't put a mobile phone or a tablet in their hands
No,
just to
no,
keep them
no,
quiet.
no, no. In fact,
Mhm.
one of the things that my daughter does is she's got this thing, it's called a Tony's box. And it's a little box, it's like a microphone, and it's got
Mhm.
these little characters that you put on top, and when you put it on top, it reads books. So it
Mm.
has maybe
Mhm.
5 or 6 stories in each little
Mhm.
character. When her kids need to be kept busy, she doesn't put a tablet in, she puts a story on.
Mhm.
Well, what's really cute is I watch my grandkids, they act them out.
Ah,
They've
good for
they've
them.
they've memorized whole dialogues.
Mhm.
And they use phrases that they've heard in these stories when they're doing imaginative play out in the backyard, and they become these characters for a while as they're playing and doing whatever. That to me just is that's the value of books right there. They've got this language and this like I said, I have a 2-year-old that knows what a convoy is. I mean, that's a pretty big word. So
Yes. Yes, a pretty big
it's a
word.
it's not I mean, I know it's not like a long word, but it's a concept.
Mhm. Yeah.
You can't pick up a convoy. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's not like
Yeah,
it's a
I know.
pen. And 2-year-olds tend to be more concrete. So they've got
Yeah.
words like they know that these are glasses and that's a book and this is but he understands the concept of
Mhm.
convoy,
Yeah.
And where did he get that? Well, he didn't get it from anything except a book.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's been read to him and he likes the book and he's figured out, when you place cars all in a row.
Yeah, and it helped him to learn to think. And it's also
Yes,
another concept which is very underdeveloped these days
right,
because too lazy. Sometimes children or students are too lazy to think for themselves. They're
right.
too lazy to pick up a dictionary.
Yeah, go
And
look it up. What does it mean? I don't
yes.
know.
And how do you get from A to B? Or maybe just leave out B and go straight from A to C?
Right,
How would you do that if you can't think?
right, right. So, no, I think I'm a firm believer in books. I think that the best thing you can do for a child is to read to them and
Yes.
to encourage them to read on their own. And
Yes.
I think that you should read chapter books to kids well past the age that they can read on their own.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to do that with mine. We would sit around, we'd have a book going all the time where we would sit down after lunch and I would read a couple of chapters of the book. And m of my kids, maybe 3 of them were already at a reading level that they could have read that book
Mm.
themselves. But there's something also about the value of hearing someone who really knows how to read and who can give the right inflections and who can make the story into a story. That's part of how you understand a book
Yeah.
is the characters make. I don't know, at least for me, I've got sounds in my head and I know what they sound like and all of that, and that's part of the whole process of understanding a story. And so people who don't like to read, I think that they were never really taught the how behind it. Sure, they can read the words, but are they
Yeah.
reading the story?
I don't know. Probably
Do
not.
they have that ability to give the character voices?
Probably not. And
And so like on a little bit of a side tangent, I had someone ask me, they're trying to create an AI that can read books.
mm,
And they wanted to know if they could use one of my books. I know them. I said yes, as long as it stays within, and they're just training. They're just trying to get this thing to figure it out. And they let me listen to what they had, and they're really thrilled. Wow, it's done so well. It's gotten all of the words right. Yeah, well, it got all the words right. But the first 2 paragraphs of this book they're heavy. They're a little boy who is terrified. He's in
mm,
his bed. He's afraid because his parents are fighting.
mm,
And when you hear this AI bot reading it, it sounds chippy and happy, right? And it's like
mm.
and the whole book is read with kind of an up at the end, up at the end. You know what? So it never sounds. You don't get any of the emotion. You never hear any of the emotion, and there are times when you're reading that it needs to slow down,
Yeah, because
and it's
maybe that's
all read
also
at the same
Again, the problem with AI, it always wants to please people.
right, and
Or that's
eh
how it is programmed to please people. And it's maybe the same here, but you can't always please everyone, especially when you read a book. As you said, it's sad. This part is sad, it's
there's
frightening, it's
right,
scary.
and if something is sad or it's scary or it's suspenseful,
Mm-hmm.
there are times when you're reading and it
Yeah.
should be more like
Yeah.
this, right? And that's the way you want it read. And so
Yeah.
you don't want AI to say it's sad and it's scary and we want to read it just like this. I mean, that just doesn't do it.
Yeah.
And so, I
Or
wonder,
like, oh, it's sad, it's scary,
it's
but
sad, it's scary. Oh, we should read it like this.
yeah.
And I wonder if maybe when people who don't like to read are reading that they haven't learned,
Mm,
like they don't have enough experience with the material, with books to understand how it's supposed to go. Because if
mhm.
I were reading a book and AI were reading it to me that way, I wouldn't last long.
Yeah, neither would I.
Right? And so you wonder, well, I wonder if maybe that's part of the problem is,
Mm,
we need to help people see the, like I don't know how to do it. I'm not a teacher. Just like I'm not a doctor, I'm not a teacher. There are many things I'm not. But I just wonder if people had more experience with books as stories from a young age, if they would be more likely to be readers growing up.
yeah, probably. I mean, listening to students read out loud is sometimes very, very painful.
I was gonna say, is it like you want to just hold your desk real tight and make
Yes.
sure your face is
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
Well done. Thank you. Next one, please.
Yes,
And I'm
next
not
one.
just and I'm not just talking about the second language.
No, and I can imagine. I mean, in a second language, now you've thrown in a whole nother set of parameters that make
Exactly.
that difficult. And I don't speak a second language, so I am never going to fault someone who is trying to speak English and making it happen. Like,
Yeah.
good for you, because I can't speak another language. But when you're talking your native tongue, the thing
Yeah.
that you've grown up hearing your whole life, yeah, it's sad when reading isn't part of that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And again, what is the future? What is the future of reading? I do hope, as you said, that more people take up paperbacks again,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
more young people start to read. I mean, when I look at my students, I'm afraid I've lost some hope here. But maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm not, because there are students who do read, who read a lot. But there are also those who never, ever read a
Ever.
book.
But when I was in school, there were kids that I remember that didn't read, that were just not readers, that just didn't want anything to do with books.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, are there more now, or is it about the same percentage? I don't know the answer to that.
Um, They are so occupied with their phones and their
Yeah.
tablet and the internet. I mean, should we call it reading? I don't know if we can call that reading. But
Well,
I don't know.
and another thing that we know about books and reading is it was not uncommon 100 years ago for books to be 6, 7, 800 pages long. It is very uncommon in 2026 for a book to be that long.
Exactly. And
Because
that's
people
also
don't have the
scary.
patience. People don't have the patience for it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And also, my student asked me what kind of books. It's always a tricky question. I
Yeah.
mean, my favorite genre will always be crime fiction.
Right.
And he also asked me, do you read those long books? I said, the longer the better, usually, if the plot is good. If the
Right.
plot is good, I don't care if it's 400 pages, 600, or even 1,000 pages.
Right. Right.
If it's,
Yeah. If it's torturous.
it's like,
But then again,
yeah,
if it's torturous, I don't want to read 100 pages.
yeah, exactly. Also, as I think I've mentioned it before, I'm still proud of myself that I read the first part of Lord of the Rings, because it was a teeny tiny bit torturous. Book number 1, I have to admit. My
It was a little.
apologies to Tolkien, but
I think it's because there was so much world building.
Yeah.
In order to get
Yeah.
into it, and then
Yeah.
when you finally
yeah,
got the world,
Yeah.
then things started happening.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Book
that
2 and
that
3
book
was the reward.
Yes, I think that book wouldn't have made it in today's world. People
Yeah,
would not
no.
have hung people wouldn't have hung with it long enough.
No,
But because
absolutely
it's
not.
already made it, people are willing to try it. But
Yeah.
in today's world, an editor would have said yes. So
Forget it. No,
Yeah.
thank you.
as
That's-
my editor sometimes says to me, "You've wandered in the woods too long, Terry. We need to get back to the story." And it's like, okay. So, yeah.
But again, here's the excuse of world building. As you said, he was trying to get you into this world.
Right.
He needed to establish it, the friendship, and so on.
Right.
And I mean, what is my favorite pastime? It's lying on a couch and having a coffee and a book, maybe
Yeah.
a cat on my lap. But that's it. That would be my perfect Saturday.
People ask me all the time, like, if you could do anything on a Saturday, what would it be? And it's like, I don't know, sit at the pool and read a good book.
Exactly.
I like the
Yes.
sunshine. So to be able to sit outside
Yes.
in the sunshine.
Yeah. Yes, in the garden.
Yes. And read a good
Again.
book.
Yeah.
Or if it's
coffee.
winter time, I want to be in the house wrapped up in a blanket with a cup of hot cocoa, reading a good
Mhm.
book.
Yeah.
When people talk about like, oh, a snowstorm is coming, we don't get them very often. So when it happens, everyone's like, oh, what are we going to do? And it's like, shoot, I got several books. I'm going to be fine. We'll get stuck here for 3 or 4 days and I won't be
Yes.
able to go anywhere. Oh, what a shame.
Yeah. There's food, there's coffee. Who cares?
There's books. What more do you need, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Mostly books.
Mostly
No
books.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. And as we said before, to live a different life, to experience a different time, experience a different world, and
Yeah.
experience be on the shoulder of my protagonist.
Yeah, and I'm often not even just on their shoulder. I actually become
Them. Yes,
I mean, I
sometimes even
become them.
that. Yes,
I
sometimes even that. Yeah.
I feel like I am the main character. Like I'm feeling
Mm-hmm.
so to me, an author has done their job if there is a
Yes.
character that I have become.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you there. And what are you reading at the moment, Terry?
I just finished a book. What was the name of it? It was called Jake Fox Ties That Bind.
Hmm.
And it was kind of a suspense.
Hmm.
Suspense. It was good. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended in such a way that there's gonna be another Jake Fox. I can tell that Jake
Ah.
Fox is somebody we're going to get to know. It ended. There was an ending,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a lot more that could have been said. And so I know Jake is coming back, which is really good
Ah.
because I
Okay.
liked the book. That was good. Um,
Okay.
I read one called, Welcome to Blooms. It was kind of
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't really a rom-com. There was a little bit it was a lot of
Mm.
com and a little bit of rom. It was more of a family. It's a woman who had gotten out of the family business whose dad gets sick and she ends up back in the family business. And it's not something she ever wanted. And now she's having to try to work with her sick dad, her overbearing
Okay.
mother, her brother that she hasn't spoken to in 20 years kind of thing. And they're trying to run this shop together. And it was funny. And
Okay.
it was also kind of feel good as they kind of figured out their family relationships that had been left kind of frayed for some time
Hmm.
as they all come back. It was good. It was called Welcome to Blooms. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds
What
interesting.
about you?
Absolutely.
You've been reading?
What about me? I'm currently reading two books at the same time. I sometimes do that. One is a crime fiction, of course.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned it before. It's one of those Mrs. Hudson and Sherlock Holmes books.
Yes.
It's called book number 8, Mrs. Hudson and the Belladonna Inheritance. I think I'm about in the middle of it. And I absolutely enjoy them, as I've mentioned before. And I also read a non-fiction book by Andy Borowitz. You might know him. He's a comedian, American comedian.
Okay.
And this book is called Profiles in Ignorance: How America's Politicians Got Dumb and Dumber.
Ah,
It's something to laugh and a bit scary as well. About the characters in your politics and especially those who made it to the White House. It's a bit, oh dear, oh god, and also about the people behind them who made them look less dumb.
right. Right. Well,
Yeah.
the truth is a lot of people who make it into high places, um, you often wonder, like, how did they do that? Like, someone else is behind them, obviously,
Mm.
because and not just in politics, but sometimes in the business world too, and you just
Yeah.
look and you think, "Wait, how did they make it and I didn't?" Like, what's going on here? But
Tell me about it. I mean, all you have to do is ask the teacup about people she works with, even those who own the business she works in. It's sometimes
yeah,
mind-boggling
my dad used to
how this company still exists.
my dad used to say that people rise to their level of incompetence.
Mhm. Yep.
And so they keep getting promoted until they're now no longer competent in what they do, and then they don't go any farther from there, but they just sit there being incompetent at this particular level of job. So
Yeah. Yeah. And before that, I have to say I'm also a huge fan of, a lesbian romance, and I read Barging In by Emily Banting, and it was nice because it was about one of those canal boats, and the
Mhm.
woman was trying to start her own business. She left the hustle and bustle of the big city, and she bought this boat and started her own baking business. And yeah, she she met a woman who has uh, built her own sort of museum. She's an architect, and there is this old factory she refurbished, and they put in a museum, and this factory produced corsets.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's all about making it work, and they also have a cafe there, and
Right.
the
Right.
flash and so on. It's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, no. So sometimes a nice book is just, it's like, "Oh, that was nice."
Yeah.
Another one I read not too long ago was called Under Two Flags, and it is a World War One,
Oh,
but not so much about the war as an American who had gone to Germany to study opera, and
oh,
then America, um, and Germany are now at war, and she's in Germany.
I
And
I
trying to
I
get home.
saw
It's called
that.
it's by Janice,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Robinson
uh, Robbins. Yeah, Robinson.
Daly, yeah. Under Two Flags, a novel of World War One. I think I
Yeah,
saw that.
that's a good one, you'd like it. I think you'd enjoy it. It's a good read.
Okay. Sounds interesting. 18-year-old Josephine Therese Marcinski. Also a very European name.
Yeah.
Sounds Polish.
Well,
The name sounds
her
Polish.
yes, it is, and so her
Mhm,
parents were from one was from Germany and one was from
mhm,
Poland, I think. They came to the United States, married. Once they got
mhm,
here, they met and married, and so
mhm,
she's like a first generation American, but she wants to study opera
mhm,
in Germany where her mother
mhm,
studied,
mm.
and
Okay.
so she goes back to study opera, and then the world kind of falls apart while she's
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, the world is falling apart when she goes, but it really falls apart once she gets there. It was a really good book. I enjoyed it.
Mhm,
And it's a lot about it's World War One, and I don't know as much about World War One as I know about World War Two. Everyone
mhm.
talks about World War Two, and World War One is that war that was supposed to end all wars and didn't, and that's about what you know about it, you know?
Ah, yes, that's the crux of it, isn't it? I mean, that's what
Yeah.
they thought. I mean, it's the one war that still keeps people keep coming back to,
Well,
because
it's still
it's
there's
also
still things that are happening.
yes, exactly, and it's also the reason why World War II actually happened, and it's always
Right.
interesting to learn more about it, because I heard just quick before we have to say goodbye to our listeners. I heard an interesting podcast this week about the guy wrote a book about those uh, monarchs involved in
Mhm.
in World War One, and those were actually the ones who weren't keen on the war that much. And um, the title of the episode was actually Archduke Franz Ferdinand, our
Yeah.
Archduke, and the misconceptions he had about him as a person before he started researching. And
Right.
you know what the tragic thing is? What he said, they shot the only man who could have prevented the war.
Right. And that happens all the time. We
Yes,
we learn you learn later that the people you think are in charge weren't in charge, the people that should have been in charge aren't in charge, the people that knew what was happening were silenced, all of those
yes,
things. It
yes.
happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and the
I
one who
actually
could
had
this
I
is
actually had a man on who wrote a book about, World War One as well on my podcast the other day, and he got a little deep for me in terms of the politics of Europe and what's going on now, etcetera, and he claims that everything that's going on today in terms of what's going on with Iran and what's going on with, Ukraine and what's going on, that all of that you can point everything back to World War One. And he says all of the things that were happening in World War One, he can point to all of it. And he tried to do it on my show, and I only have 30-minute show, and so he didn't get a chance to really get through it all. But it was it was pretty fascinating in terms
mm,
of whether he was right or not, the fact that he can point back to things and say, because of this, and then this, and because of that, then this, and therefore. And it was like, wow, that's a little interesting.
Yeah, maybe sometimes feel a long stretch, but interesting concept nonetheless.
Yeah. And I think what he was really saying, it wasn't necessarily just because of World War I, but the things that were happening to make World War I happen never really got resolved. And those same things are still pushing world politics today. And
the mistakes that were made afterwards.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the other thing is like, who got what lands and how they were divided and what peoples were put where and et cetera. And that all of that still has a play in today.
Somehow, yes. I mean, when you look at the maps, especially when you look at what's left of Austria, for example.
Right. And so you start looking at all of that and it's like, oh, there is some to it, which is another reason why people should read. Let's bring it back to reading. Is if you read, then you learn some things like this. And, the only way to keep history from repeating itself is to learn from it. You can't learn from it if you don't know what it is.
Exactly. If you have no idea what was going on in the past. And
that's Terry on her soapbox.
Yes. But you are absolutely right, because otherwise you are forced to repeat the same mistakes over and over again.
Right. We get it figured out. So
yeah.
Absolutely.
Therefore, dear listeners, read.
Absolutely. And then we have to remind you, dear Edith, write.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you
Summer's
do.
coming.
Yes.
Summer's coming. I expect to see something written.
Yes,
this summer.
ma'am.
Okay. I'll come from my Greek vacation straight to your house and knock on your door and demand to know what you've written. That's
looking forward to it. And why not? Let's have coffee here in Vienna.
Okay.
Okay, dear listeners, I hope you will tune in again. Hope you had some fun, as we did. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.